The bond between Tanjiro and Nezuko is one of the most touching storylines in Demon Slayer, with Tanjiro's unwavering determination to save his sister forming the core of some of the series' most emotional moments. But what if tragedy struck even deeper in the opening episode, when Muzan attacked the Kamado household? What if even Tanjiro was killed, leaving Nezuko to forge her own path as a Demon Slayer? In today's video, let's explore what would happen if Nezuko was the main character in Demon Slayer. Now, this theory can only work if we reshape the entire story, so let's start right at the beginning with Muzan's attack on the Kamado family. This time, Tanjiro is at home with his mom and siblings, and Nezuko has gone out to the nearby town to buy supplies. As expected, there are no survivors following the confrontation with the Demon King, and Nezuko returns from town to find her entire family dead. The scene is devastating, because unlike the original timeline where hope existed in saving Nezuko, here there is only grief. When Giyu arrives, he finds a broken girl weeping over her family's lifeless bodies, with no demon to complicate the situation. We all love Giyu, but let's be real, there's no way he's doing a good job of comforting the distraught Nezuko. So instead, recognizing the tragedy and seeing potential in Nezuko's fierce desire for vengeance, Giyu offers her a path forward, deciding to send her directly to the former water Hashira, Urokodaki Sakonji. Now, things don't change much at this stage, because Urokodaki is still a great teacher and Nezuko trains with a singular focus, destroying the demons who took everything from her. Now we will see a critical difference in breathing styles a bit later on in this video, but for now, Nezuko naturally takes to water breathing. Her agility and smaller frame lead her to develop a more agile, dance-like fighting style that emphasizes speed and precision over raw power. The final selection arc proceeds the same as in the original series, but something's different about the fight with the hand demon. Where Tanjiro was driven by responsibility to protect his sister, Nezuko finds courage from her burning desire for revenge, and takes out the demon using her rage to fuel her strikes. Nezuko passes final selection through sheer tenacity, but her approach to demon slaying is markedly different. Where Tanjiro showed compassion even to demons, Nezuko shows none. Every demon she faces might be the one who destroyed her family, and she fights with lethal efficiency. When she receives her Nichirin blade, it turns deep purple, reflecting her fierce will and the darkness she carries. Nezuko's first mission facing the swamp demon plays out similarly, but without the emotional complexity of protecting a demon sibling. She eliminates the threat quickly and moves on, already asking for her next assignment. The real change begins during what would have been the Asakusa arc. Without Tanjiro to detect Muzan's demonic scent, or the Hanafuda earrings to catch the Demon King's attention, there's no confrontation, and Muzan continues his search for the blue spider lily undetected. But here's the major deviation. Tamayo and Yushiro never meet a demon that doesn't eat humans in the form of Nezuko, so there's nothing to kickstart their research into a human transformation drug. This might not seem like a major plot point, but think about it. Tanjiro collected samples of blood from increasingly powerful demons to assist Tamayo's research. In this timeline, none of that would have happened. Tamayo probably would still be in contact with the Ubuyashiki family and work on an anti-Muzan drug, but her progress would be slowed considerably compared to the original timeline. But let's turn to Nezuko's story, as now she runs into Zenitsu and Inosuke at the Tsutsumi mansion. The Drum Demon is Nezuko's most challenging adversary yet, but we know that he's not a sufficiently deadly threat to make a major change to the storyline. Nezuko takes out the Drum Demon, but we don't see him getting that final moment of closure where Tanjiro shows respect to his art. It's just another close to a chapter of the demon's life. The trio of Inosuke, Nezuko, and Zenitsu probably still form a team, but the dynamic is completely different. Without Tanjiro's calming presence, the entire group becomes more volatile. Zenitsu still develops feelings for Nezuko, but she's cold and focused on her mission, rejecting all advances the young demon slayer makes. Inosuke doesn't challenge Nezuko to a duel in the same way he challenged Tanjiro, but still respects her strength while finding her intensity unsettling. The three function as effective demon slayers, but they don't really have the heart that made the original trio so compelling. Let's fast forward to Mount Natagumo, where the encounter with Rui takes an interesting turn. The Demon Slayers still manage to take out Rui's fake family, but the final battle between Nezuko and Rui has a different dynamic. In the original timeline, Rui was jealous of Tanjiro and Nezuko's bond, and wanted it for himself, but the Demon Slayer who stands before him now has lost everything. This probably stalls the battle a bit more, as Rui doesn't go all out from the start, and isn't angered by Tanjiro's attempts to debate his morals like in the original timeline. However, they still must fight, and the battle is brutal. Without Tanjiro's awakening of sun breathing or Nezuko's burning blood, the fight becomes a desperate struggle for survival. But thanks to the battle being less intense from the start, Rui is unable to execute his final technique before Giyu arrives, and the water Hashira bails Nezuko out at the last moment. Unlike the original timeline, this isn't a battle of bonds conquering adversity for Nezuko. It's a harsh reminder of her own weakness and mortality. Nezuko redoubles her training after recovering at the Butterfly Mansion, and strikes up a friendship with Kanao while she's there. However, there's no time for socializing, as she's quickly summoned to accompany the Flame Hashira Rengoku on a mission on the Mugen train. Once again, the events of this story don't really change much, as Rengoku would have been more than enough to take out Enmu, and the fight against Akaza ends in his death anyway. Nezuko would still participate in the Entertainment District arc, since she's actually a better fit for the role than Tanjiro, but this is where the story fundamentally breaks. You've probably noticed that sun breathing hasn't been covered yet in this video, and that's because Nezuko never learned it by watching her father dance in the snow. But what's even worse is that without having a sun breathing user that has awakened the Demon Slayer mark, no one else, not even the Hashira, can awaken their own marks. So what changes in the battles that follow? Well, in the Entertainment District arc, Nezuko, Inosuke, Zenitsu, and Tengen face Daki and Gyutaro, but without sun breathing, the battle becomes ridiculously one-sided. But don't underestimate Tengen, because he still manages to get his musical score technique up and running, despite being poisoned, and valiantly fights Gyutaro with just one arm. Meanwhile, Zenitsu and Inosuke also manage to draw on the last of their strength to challenge Daki, and with Zenitsu achieving the Godspeed form of his Thunderclap and Flash, they manage to behead the Obi Demon. But without Nezuko's Blood Demon art to reverse Gyutaro's poison, Inosuke and Tengen die at the end of the battle, while Nezuko barely escapes with a critically injured Zenitsu. The Demon Slayers now have lost 2 Hashira to Upper Moons, and the Corps begins to realize they're facing an enemy that they cannot defeat through conventional means. At the Swordsmith Village, Hantengu and Gyoko's attack is even more devastating. Remember, the key turning points in the battles against Hantengu and Gyoko were when Mitsuri and Muichiro awakened their Demon Slayer marks. But without this, Nezuko and the other defenders are systematically overwhelmed. Muichiro cannot access his hidden potential, Mitsuri lacks the explosive power her mark would provide, and Nezuko herself cannot bridge the fundamental power gap. The village falls, its swordsmiths killed or scattered, while the Love Hashira and the Mist Hashira are also killed in battle. This defeat sends shockwaves through the Demon Slayer Corps. They've lost irreplaceable craftsmen and confirm what many feared: the Upper Moons are beyond their ability to defeat. Now, here's another point where the story could diverge. Does the Infinity Castle arc even take place? Think about it. One of the primary motivations for Muzan to take the fight to the Demon Slayers was the fact that they were able to take out his Upper Moons consistently. But another reason for the Demon King's attack was Nezuko developing an immunity to the sun. However, in this timeline, Nezuko isn't even a demon, so there's no incentive for him to launch this plan. This means that the Demon Slayers continue to exist the same way they've been operating for the past century, with occasional big wins against the demons, but never achieving anything of significance. Now, you might be unhappy with this storyline, but think of the alternative. What would happen if the Demon Slayers were transported into the Infinity Castle? This time, we wouldn't see the epic battle of equals we know. It's a slaughter. Without Demon Slayer marks, the Hashira cannot possibly match the Upper Moon's power. Additionally, the two sides are ridiculously imbalanced because Mitsuri and Muichiro are dead, while Gyoko and Hantengu are still alive. The reason this is important is because these two demons would be an absolute menace in the Infinity Castle. Imagine Gyoko teleporting using his pots, while Hantengu's tiniest form hides in nooks and crevices, while Zohakuten goes on a rampage. Nezuko finds herself fighting desperately alongside the remaining Demon Slayers, but one by one, the Hashira fall. Giyu, Sanemi, Gyome, all of them fight bravely, but without the power boost of their marks, they cannot overcome centuries-old demons at their peak strength. The Upper Moons methodically eliminate the Demon Slayers, and they don't even manage to make it past Kokushibo to challenge Muzan. Nezuko, having watched everyone she's come to care about die, faces the Demon King knowing she cannot win. In this darker timeline, Nezuko's journey ends not in triumph, but in a desperate last stand. Perhaps she manages to land a meaningful blow on Muzan, or maybe she inspires others to continue the fight, but the Demon Slayer organization as we know it falls. So what do you think about this darker version of Demon Slayer? Would Nezuko's story of pure vengeance be as compelling as Tanjiro's journey? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe for more Demon Slayer analysis and incredible fan theories.